Patrol cars, blue lights flashing after a police-involved shooting.
He got shot 7 times on Rose, right there by the police.
Friends say 19-year-old Rousan Shaw had just left them to get something to eat.
He was running through the alley with no gun or nothing, because he just left us, so we know he ain't had no gun. The police shot him unjustified. Too many times in his back. He ain't do nothing, man.
Chicago Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 7 spokesperson Pat Camden says Shaw was caught by police in the middle of a drug deal. They went after him. Camden says Shaw pointed a gun at police.
The officer defends himself, shoots the offender. We did recover a .40 caliber Glock with an extended clip.
Chaos erupts after the shooting. An angry mob gathers.
The rumor starts to spread that he didn't have a gun, the police shot him for no reason. Nothing could be further from the truth. If you're carrying a gun and you're stopped by the police, put your hands up in the air, and I guarantee you, you won't get shot.
Lil B EBT grew up in Chicago's most dangerous building, switched sides on false snitch rumors, and became the most feared shooter on the South Side. Cold open, before the wig, before the dumpster, before 32 police files and a name that made entire neighborhoods relocate their daily routines. There was a building on 65th and Maryland. Address was 62117 South Calumet. Most people called it the Calumet Building. Some called it Randolph Towers. Chicago called it one of the most concentrated pockets of violence and talent in the city's history, both at the same time, from the same hallways in the same apartments. Run the names that came out of that building. Melly, Wu. Their father figure Jerome Golden, known as Fido, who ran the BD leadership inside before the FBI raided the building and locked him up for quadruple homicide. Lil Reese, Varney, Lil Rob from Lamron, Frito from Front Street, E-Day and C-Day from 600, Do from NLMB, the building that shaped drill music as a genre, that produced some of the most documented members on both sides of the most active wars on the south side of Chicago. The same building where a kid named Rousan Shaw grew up before anyone knew his name. He was not born the most feared shooter on the south side. He was born in the Calumet Building. That is the difference between a biography and a legend.
Said what?
If they was the label you and put you in the newspaper, which one would you tell them to put?
Which one out of which one?
Savage or Demon, nigga.
I'm gonna let my Instagram's followers answer that.
What y'all think he is?
The beginning. His name was Rousan Shaw. The streets called him Lil B. And this is where it starts. The building, June 7th, 1994, Chicago, Illinois. Rousan Shaw came into the world in a city that was already deep in the process of defining what the next decade of its street politics would look like. The drill era had not been named yet. The music had not been recorded yet. The buildings were still standing. His mother's name was Sharon. She was doing what mothers in that building did, holding it down in an environment that did not offer much structural support and compensated for none of the violence. His father was not in the picture. The sources that have documented his life leave the father's name out entirely, not because it is unclear, but because the story of Rousan Shaw is his mother's story as much as his, and the father's absence is its own data point. He had two sisters, Tiara and Dominique, a little brother. Sharon had her hands full in an apartment inside a building that was simultaneously a BD stronghold, a famous address in Chicago gang history, and a residence for people who were just trying to live their lives around all of it. The building did not distinguish between those categories. Everyone inside it was shaped by the same conditions, whether they chose to be or not. The famous names from that building were famous for different things. Some of them would go on to make music. Some of them would go on to the penitentiary. Some of them would end up in both categories simultaneously. Rousan Shaw grew up watching all of it from the same hallways. The Calumet Building was not a launching pad. It was a pressure cooker. What came out of it depended on the specific person and the specific set of circumstances that would determine which direction the pressure eventually pointed. For him, the direction was not visible yet. He was still a kid. He was quiet. That is the detail that comes up consistently in the accounts of the people who knew him before the city knew his name. he was quiet.
More popular throughout the years, man, is Lil B.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a Lil B too.
Did you know Lil B?
Yeah, he used to be my homie. And shit, he used to be TYMB. Yeah, folks was TYMB and shit before TY got killed. B, you know, TY is who they named TYMB out there. It was one of the guys named TY from over there on BD and shit. He was Young Money. And that's how they became TYMB on BD. So when he died, it was some shit going on with Lil B and that situation with that on BD. So when TY died and shit, Lil B just became a straight op on BD. He started firing at folks, them firing at us. Lil B just started firing at us. I ain't gonna lie, like he started just walking up on shit. Like I ain't gonna lie, Lil B started treating niggas like he never hung with us. So I swear to God, that's why I was so crazy with Lil B, cause he one of them niggas I could say like, niggas play with him, and on my son, he started like making like, nigga, you what? On Biddy, like I ain't gonna stun on Lil B, boy. He definitely like he one of them niggas, bro. He was one of us, and then once the situation with them and him that situation happened on Biddy, boy, he started like he had something to show, bro. He went all the way in, like that's how you know that shit was in his heart on Biddy. You could tell what type of nigga he was, cause soon as the thought they was gonna come together and play with Shorty or move him around or scandalize or get on his ass, he started trying to kill on BD. He started.
When the Calumet Building came down, the city was tearing down the high-rises that had defined the South Side's geography for decades. The Shaw family moved to 64th and Ingleside, right in the heart of TYMB territory, right in what was then Dro City, the corridor that had its own history and its own politics and its own set of affiliated crews spanning 64th to 65th from Cottage to Maryland. TYMB, Ty, you're my brother. The name came later. Before the name came the fact of the death. Rousan Shaw's cousin Ty, Edric Walker, was killed in late May 2009. He was 065 Young Money, a set that ran the block under a name borrowed from Lil Wayne, before the set took a new name to carry Ty's memory forward. That is where TYMB came from. A cousin dying on a block his younger relative had just moved onto. A crew turning grief into an abbreviation that everyone on that block would say every day for years. His sister Tiara was tight with TYMB members. His family was embedded in that geography before the gang lines had fully crystallized around the death of Ty, the cousin who allegedly killed Ty. The murder charges that were charged, appealed, reconsidered, with multiple people charged, and the full truth still contested, was from the BTM side that the building had been adjacent to. The politics of that one murder radiated outward in every direction for years. Rousan Shaw grew up inside those politics. He was TYMB before TYMB was TYMB. He was a shorty coming up in the circle of people who would become the first generation of the crew. He was, by multiple accounts from people who were there, quiet, not flash, not out in front, not the kind of person who gave you the indication that what was building inside him was what was actually building inside him.
Tay Capone said it directly in footage that still exists. He was quietish. You know what I'm saying? Like if you know the people we know or you around, he'll talk to you. But not really the most out in the open, flashy type. Usually how most of the savage killers turn out to be.
He was learning, and the people he was learning from were already the most serious people on the block. The moment everything changed was not a murder. It was not a shooting. It was an accident with a gun, a trip to the hospital, a police interrogation, and a rumor that spread faster than the truth could correct it. He was on the block with his gun. He was high. He shot himself. His own weapon. His own negligence. He got treatment, and the police, who were already circling the block that day, already watching, came to question him. They thought an enemy had come through and shot him. They wanted to know the circumstances. They wanted a name, somewhere in that interrogation, or somewhere in the chain of telephone between what was actually said and what people on the block heard about what was said. The rumor materialized that Rousan Shaw had given up Manny, that Manny, a TYMB member, had been arrested. that it was information from Lil B that had put him there. The rumor was not true. TYMB Feifei told the story later on camera, the whole sequence of events, the shooting, the police, the way his name got pulled into it. His name got cleared. The truth came out relatively quickly in the timeline. The rumor was disproven. He did not snitch on Manny. But here is the problem with a snitch rumor in that environment. By the time the truth catches up to it, the damage is already done.
Bro, like, when it came to that shit, Lil B lived for that shit, truthfully, because, bro, like, Lil B was one of them, he was one of them people that, you know, at first, motherfuckers wasn't fucking with him, and then when they would start fucking with him, motherfuckers try to X him out, like, oh yeah, you ain't gang, rah. That whole time, Lil B always been like that, though. I remind you, he always been like that. But it took, now everybody thought, now look, Lil B was fucking with us and he's fucking with TYMB though. Now, everybody thinking like, oh damn, Lil B came back and told us that TYMB popped him. Whole time, folks, he took they, whole time Lil B take their gun and shot himself with the pipe. He ended up popping himself with the pipe. Now he's telling us like, yeah, they popped me, whoa. But it's merch after he shot himself, honestly, I think my boy was like sick in a lot of ways, because after he shot himself, he truly believed that the op shot him, and it was like he believed it so much that he made us believe it. So when to see the motherfucker who said he got popped by the niggas who he fuck with, now he in clutch, he in mode, that made us get in mode, you know? Cause we getting, oh yeah, they pop folks, we finna get on their ass now. You know? For the whole time, it come out folks that waned itself.
And I also heard from SNTV that Lil B from EBT was a part of TYMB back in the day. Is that true? If so, do you want to speak on that?
Yes, he was TYMB, bro. Yes, he was TYMB. Just get verified through me, the niggas that know what's going on. I was on FaceTime with Butter early on live on Instagram. He know person, he'll tell you. You feel me?
Yeah.
So it'd be like, man, bro, motherfucker knows what's going on, bro. Yeah, that nigga used to be TYMB. Folks will try to say he got down on some shit, you feel me? And that's when he stopped, made them flip and go to EBT. Because he told on Manny, one of the guys, some more shit. He shot himself, nigga. He still got his blood stain, nigga, on the fucking concrete by the door where he shot himself at. Nigga, he shot himself in TYMB one time. He was off a pill. Nigga, he shot himself. Nigga, I was next to him. When the gun went off, I'm thinking he shooting at me. The whole time he shot himself. You know what I'm saying? He had to go to the ambulance. Now the police want to investigate. You gotta look, this is a long time ago. So the police looking like, man, who the fuck shot you? So, you know, he was young. You know, I know they probably told him like, man, who shot you? But you know, he really shot himself. But they thinking, motherfucker came through slid, not knowing, you feel me? So it's big, bro. You feel me? Dramatic. But yes, he was TYMB. I knew it.
The people who heard the rumor heard it first. Some of them acted on it before the correction arrived. He was violated over it. Whatever specifically happened, and the accounts vary on the exact form of the violation, the social damage was complete before anyone publicly acknowledged the rumor was false. He had been violated for something he did not do, by people he had grown up with. In a block where his own cousin's death was the founding story of the crew, he made his decision before his name was officially cleared. His mother was on Eberhard, his sister was on Eberhard. EBT, Eberhard Block, was the territory that ran the corridor from the 60s down through 72nd. Different crews under the same broad alliance that had formed before the STL name became the dominant branding. His family had been on that side the whole time he was running with TYMB. EBT needed shooters. They knew what he was. He had been putting in work since 2007, before the crew wars had fully calcified into the documented conflicts that would define the next several years. He had been in the field with TYMB members, sliding on Gyro City, having shootouts with people from blocks his family happened to live adjacent to. He knew how to move. He had a name on the street that was credible before the incident ever happened. When the TYMB situation went the way it went, the transition to EBT was not a dramatic crossing of a line. It was a reorientation toward the side where his people already were. He did not switch nations. He was BD and he remained BD. He was around Stones, he was around GDs, and he did not care about any of that because TYMB and EBT both had members from every nation, and the nation lines had stopped meaning much in practical terms on the street level long before he switched. What he carried with him when he switched was the thing that could not be transferred back. Everything TYMB had taught him about how to move. The knowledge of the block, the politics, the schedules, the faces, the locations, the patterns. He had been inside that crew long enough to know things about it that the people he was now aligned against could not protect themselves from because they did not know he knew it. He was 19 in 2009. He was already a problem. He had not yet become what he was about to become. The quiet machine, the people who have spoken about him on camera return to the same word over and over: quiet. Not quiet in the sense of withdrawn or socially broken. Quiet in the specific sense that matters in those streets. He was not on social media. He was not on Twitter posting cryptic threats. He was not on Instagram showing hardware. He was not at the dice game explaining what he had done and who had seen it. He was not building a personal brand around his reputation. Tay 600 said it directly on camera. When you see Lil B, you better already have your gun out. Because the seeing is all the warning you get. He is not coming to announce himself. He is not coming to let you know what time it is. By the time you have processed that, you are looking at him. It is already time. Every set on the South Side had documented people who were active. Active in the sense that they were known to be carrying, known to slide, known to have put in work that was understood if not documented. Most of them were active in a way that was visible. The visibility was part of how it worked. The reputation required some exhibition. Lil B did not operate on that math. He was a BD in an EBT body walking through a city where everyone was looking for people who looked like a threat. He was small. He was quiet. He was patient. He was already building the operating methods that would later get him the nickname Oscar the Grouch, because he would climb into trash cans and wait for hours for the right moment, before anyone on the outside had a name for what he was doing. He did not want the credit. He wanted the outcome. That is a specific kind of dangerous that most people in those streets had not encountered before. The TYMB Verdict 600, Trigga and Tay Capone talked about him on camera, about the period when the situation went south, about what they saw when it happened. He came from TYMB. He had been around. They knew him. He was not new to them. And then the situation went how it went, and he started acting bad. He was out in full court blitz, 30 days, 30 nights, not taking time to recalibrate, not laying low to let the temperature drop. Going, immediately and continuously.
Okay, what about when Lil B came to the hood? Because he didn't grow up over there. Like, I heard he came from like TYMB, yeah. So it's like, did y'all know him before he ended up over there?
I didn't know him before he ended up over there, but the crazy thing about that is, he came from over there, but then he turned around and the same people he was, well, we got to talk about earlier. He on their ass.
Yeah, I knew Lil B. I used to, he was kind of like, he was my age and shit, my age range and shit. And I've been around folks them and shit, Kesey and all them from TYMB and shit. This is before even TY got killed, bro, when they was Young Money. So, I had been knew Lil B. I ain't gonna lie though, but I ain't know he was that at that age. Like, I ain't know that was what was in his heart. Don't feel nothing. But when that thing went left, he exposed his hand and showed like it was always in him, folks. Cause Lil B wasn't really talkative or none of that shit. Like, he was a member, folks, but he wasn't all that outlandish and vulgar and all that type of shit, folks. You had to had to talk to him for real. You know what I'm saying? But when that shit went how it went on BD, he started acting bad. I ain't gonna lie.
And that's what I want to ask, because a lot of people don't talk about conversations they have, and we said they basically had like a sit down, you know what I'm saying, to come to the table situation. Like, how was he though? Was he aggressive? Because the fans, they be wanting to hear about this situation. Like, was he aggressive? Was he like mild-mannered when y'all had to sit down, you and Lil B, when y'all had to talk?
No, he was chill. He was chill. You know what I'm saying? He was chill. He basically, like Cam brought him to me. I was in the courtway, you know what I'm saying? He was letting me know, the little issue they was having and shit. It was the thing that was aggressive. He was chill.
What Tay Capone described was a person who did not have a gear between neutral and full. The moment the situation with TYMB resolved itself into conflict, Once it became clear that the violation had happened and that the relationship was not going to repair itself, he went in one direction and never looked back. That is the thing Tay Capone said that sits with you after you hear it. He never looked back. Not once. Not a moment of hesitation about who he was going at or why. Not a pause for the complexity of the fact that these were people he had grown up with, people in whose crew his cousin's memory was the foundation. None of that registered as a reason to slow down. He played hard. He played hard. He played hard. And then Tay said, he ain't never looked back. Beat 8. What everyone already knew. Late 2009 and into 2010, EBT had a shooter that the rest of the South Side had not fully accounted for yet. He was hitting TYMB blocks. He was riding with the older EBT members, learning the territory of the war that had already been going between EBT and Zone 7 and Wick City and Trap City before he ever arrived on that side. He was absorbing the map of enemies and learning to move through it the same way he had learned everything else. Quietly, methodically, without announcing what he was doing before he did it. Big Duger from CC told the story simply on camera. You always knew when it was his work. The body count was one way to know. The method was another. When you read an incident report and the victim had been shot once in the thigh and bled out, maybe. But when you read that somebody caught 12 rounds in the neck and the face and the chest, that was a specific kind of signature. You did not confuse it with a stray. You did not confuse it with someone who got caught slipping in a random crossfire. You read it, and you knew whose frequency that was. He had not caught his first confirmed body yet, at this point. But the city was already learning to read those reports differently when his name was attached to the block where it happened. The frequency was recognizable before the paperwork confirmed it. That recognition was what would define the next 2 years. 2011 specifically. The year that would make the question of who Rousan Shaw was completely unnecessary. Because the answer would be written in CPD case files across every set on the south side of Chicago. That story is next. Human weight. There is what the origin of Rousan Shaw adds up to before the next chapter. A boy born in the most famous building in Chicago gang history to a mother who did everything she could with what she had. A father who was not there. Not because the street took him, but simply because he was not there. A cousin whose murder became the founding story of the crew he grew up inside. A false rumor that cost him something he could not get back. A switch that was not dramatic, just the natural direction of a person whose family was already on the other side. He was quiet. That detail matters. The people who talk about him the longest come back to it every time. He was not performing. He was not building a brand. He was moving in silence because silence was the method, not a personality quirk. In a world where visibility was currency and rep was built on exhibition, he decided that the work itself was the currency, and the exhibition was a liability. He brought everything Tim taught him with him when he left. The block knowledge, the method, the patience, the willingness to wait hours in a trash can for the right moment. He took the violation they gave him for something he did not do, and he converted it into something specific and sustained that the South Side would spend the next 4 years documenting in 32 separate police files. He was 19 years old. The worst of it had not happened yet. 2011 is where the math becomes undeniable. We the mob, drop your verdict in the comments. Was there a version of this story where the Calumet Building and the TYMB situation lead somewhere different? Or was Rousan Shaw always going to be exactly what he became? Like the video, subscribe, the vault keeps building.